Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Polaris Training Center YouTube channel. I'm Mark Entrata, 47 years old, turning 48 this year. First degree black belt under the legend himself, Professor Cobrina Charles. And I've been doing Jiu-Jitsu for almost 25 years. And I've been leading, teaching, managing everything, a team and an academy for almost 20 years, closer to 20 years. That is for sure. And welcome to the channel. Welcome to the vlog. And I'm the head of Alliance Jiu-Jitsu Manila. And today's topic is very, very interesting, very controversial, because apparently, for some, this is already a red flag topic, okay? Which is cross training at other academies. Now, remember, this channel is mostly for whom? Especially if this is your first time, see, this is mostly for beginners, hobbyists, and older people. And the overall theme of all our videos is about safety, staying safe. Because as long as you're safe, you can train, and as long as you can train, then you're gonna get better. So anyway, so cross training, which is a very nuanced topic. So in this video, okay, it's mostly cross training as a hobbyist and a beginner and an older guy. But of course, others can learn from this video. As usual, I got something for everyone. Okay? I don't want to be, because I want to be inclusive. But anyway, so in today's episode, I will be discussing a few things. The first one is what basically is cross training and why do people need to cross train if ever. Next, I have a checklist before cross training at other academies that my students have to know first. Third, what are the expectations when you do actually cross train? Fourth, my checklist on who we allow to cross train with us. We allow to train at our academy from other teams. And the fifth one is pros and cons of cross training and who should and shouldn't do it. So let's start. What is cross training? Well, cross training, its most basic way is really you training somewhere else outside of your team. So it could be you training in a different country or a different province or really just a different school altogether. That's mostly within your area. So it could be in a specific gym or so a specific gym, it's an actual class or an open mat. And the next one is in a private facility, like your friend has mats or someone has mats or invited you to someone who has mats, whatever. Okay. So those technically are cross training. The second one, yeah, I know it's a little bit weird, but some people really consider that as cross training, regardless. Now, for me, it's always about safety. Now, that's why this is the next what's this the next portion I'm going to be discussing now is my personal checklist before our student can actually cross train at a particular place. So what is the first question? The first question I ask, okay, our students is this. Okay, you want to cross train at this, because I remember one of our students say, oh, hey, my friend is inviting me to cross train at his place. I say, okay, what belt is your friend? Because this student was also a white belt that time. It's like, oh, he's a white belt. Oh, your white belt friend is inviting you to cross train at his academy. Yeah. Okay. Now, do you think your white belt friend, if ever the higher belts at that academy decided to really whoop your butt? Because it happens. Guys, what I hate about some people in the jiu-jitsu community is the delusion that everyone's like a nice guy. Like, oh, that never happens, man. Man, if that's your experience, good for you. And you're probably living a lie. But anyway, so especially cross-training, people will normally go hard on you. Because why? You're they need to defend their territory. It is what it is. That's the nature of the sport. That's the nature of the culture. And it is what it is. So that's my thing. Because imagine, see, if let's say they went there, and then the higher belt started picking on our student, on our student. Yeah, and they're going almost kind of hurting the guy. Really, do you think the his white belt friend can go to his professor or coach and go, "Hey, coach, hey, maybe you guys better take it easy on my friend, man. He's my friend. Y'all better chill." Oh, John, you want us to chill on your. First of all, it's Jimmy. Who cares? If you have no pull in the team, if you're not, you can't do anything about it. Or at least your friend. If your friend has no pull in the gym, if they want to hurt you, you and your friend can't do anything about it. Remember, I'm always about safety. So normally, the first in the checklist is if your friend is one of the higher ranked guys, one of the guys who can, kind of tell off the other his teammates and even like, hey man, chill, he's with me. Oh, no worries, brother. We got your friend. Don't worry. He's gonna have a great time here. But if it's a white belt, man, y'all can do nothing. It is what it is. So the second one, if you feel that, oh yeah, my friend can take care of me, he has me back, and he has that, what do you call that? It's like he has pull, he has weight, his opinion or whatever he says has weight in his academy. He's very respected there already. Cool. But the second one is you need to ask permission from the instructor of that academy if he's okay with you training there. And if he's okay with that, then cool. And of course, you also need to ask your own professor, your own coach. Why? Because again, and I will discuss this later because it's a very nuanced thing. Some people don't allow you to train because maybe they know something about those coaches, the team, etc. But then, of course, some people really just don't want you to train there because it is what it is. There are some insecure coaches or overly protective, whatever, very cultish. Who knows? It's the intent and we can't really tell. But it's always better to ask if you can train there or not. Why? Because ultimately, if you're training at a particular gym, you obey their rules, whatever they are. It is what it is. It's like living under someone's house, or you're still living with your parents. You can't tell your parents what to. Oh, gonna anyway. See, but parents who actually respect themselves and one, they'll be like, no, as long as you're living in my house, you will follow my rules.
It's my house. You know what it is? And if you don't like it, you get the fuck out.
But anyway, so you guys get it. Now, another thing that I want you guys to do, especially if you don't know much, but you're in a different country and you don't have common friends there, of course, that's not possible sometimes. Just go to their social media, look at the reviews, and try to ask around as much as you can to know more about that school. Then another good thing, if some of your teammates or even some of your coaches have already trained at that academy, then they can vouch for it. Like, yeah, I've been there before. The people there are cool. So yes, it's very safe to train there. Again, in general. I'm not even gonna discuss. By the way, I'm not even gonna discuss the etiquette when cross training or visiting an academy because so many people have done that already. I'm just saying the personal things I tell our students before they even attempt to cross train somewhere else. Okay, so the next part is what? Expectations. Again, it really depends this isn't a black and white thing, but these things commonly happen. So the first one is they will probably test you. They will go hard on you, especially if you're still a spazzy white belt, etc. They will kind of go hard on you. Okay, because again, like what I mentioned earlier, they will protect their house. They will protect their, our jujitsu is still better than yours. Of course, that's normal. Okay. Second is you'll probably get weird looks because you're the new guy. You're the new person. People don't know you, and pretty much everyone there, they know each other. They're just gonna be like, And probably have weird conversations also. Again, that is to be expected. The third one, which is pretty cool, is you will learn something different. Now, it could be better, it could be worse, who knows. But they're probably going to be running their team or their classes a little bit different from how your instructors run their classes. You'll probably learn a different approach to a particular guard that you think you know, etc., etc. So it's always good and sometimes bad. So who knows? But you will definitely learn something different. Now, the fourth one is quite controversial, but this also happens, especially if you have potential and you have some talent. Well, one of the things that happen also with cross training is, oh, especially someone was talking to me about this reason. Oh, some some teams poach those who cross train with them and even offer them, I don't know, like geese and free training, etc., etc. So it is what it is. These are things that may happen. I'm not saying they will always happen, but they may happen. So now I will be discussing my personal protocols, who I allow to cross train or even train or drop in, not even cross train, drop in at our academy. The way I treat the academy is this: I treat it like my own house.
It's my house. You know what it is? And if you don't like it, you get the fuck out.
What about you, man? Like, do you just allow any stranger to enter your house? I mean, maybe some of you do, and well, it's just a matter of time that you're gonna get robbed. But it's the same. I can't just allow anyone, any stranger, to enter the house, the academy, because my duty, my number one duty, is to protect my students, their safety. So the first one I allow is if it's someone I know, of course. Like he's my friend, he's someone I've trained with, someone I trust, but just so happen they train in a different team. So go ahead, man, go. Or if our students also know them, our students go, hey, he's my friend, he's pretty cool. So someone vouches for them. So yeah, it's pretty. Now here's also the thing, because this also happened before. Someone vouch, oh, I know him, and then the guy they bring in is like a friggin' spaz and starts hurting people. I'm like, okay, here's the thing. I'm gonna mess you up and I'm gonna mess your friend up. Okay, because that's also on you. Because you should have known better. Okay? No, I'm just kidding. Or am I? But anyway, so next, if no one knows them, and I ask basic information first. So yeah, and as much as possible, do a little bit background check. Maybe you have common friends, etc., etc. Because again, I don't want anyone just entering the academy. I remember there was one time, so there was a black belt, a foreign black belt, who said, "Oh, hey, I'm gonna be in the Philippines, blah 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 blah. Uh, it's cool, man. If you want, I can teach a few classes at your academy. No need to pay me, because I just want to share my knowledge." Like, oh, cool. So what I did was, I took a screenshot of his profile and sent it to our team's Viber group. And lo and behold, a few minutes after, I get this message from one of my female students. It was like, oh my God, don't let that guy train. Like, huh? Why? What's happening? Oh, because that guy used to chat me up. And at first he was very nice. And later on, he started harassing me and even sent videos of him relieving himself. But anyway, so I was like, oh, cool, thanks. So I was like, hey, sorry, but you can't teach our academy. Blah. So I made that an excuse, and he got mad. I was like, oh, it's just because you just don't want anyone teaching. So basically, he made it sound that I was insecure and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, man, of course I'm insecure, because I'm the one who actually sends random girls that I don't know videos of myself and doing inappropriate stuff. Yeah, because I'm like insecure. Okay. Sure, sir. Anyway, so see, so many weird, sketchy people in jujitsu. Okay. Next, I also tell them that, okay, hey, what type of training are you looking for? Because our pace is more hobbyist pace. Why? Because I don't allow people we don't know to do competition training. Because for us, the competition training, the people who can only train there are the ones with the highest trust level. We trust each other that we can go very hard, but I still trust you that you're going to take care of me, and vice versa. Now, if they're okay with that, then cool. Next, here's also what we do. When we do allow people to cross train, we first observe them during positional sparring. If they're intense, if they're kind of calm, etc. Because now we can see, oh, okay, this person we can allow to spar, or he can only spar with certain people, etc., etc., etc. So we just observe it. Again, safety of our students is the priority. Now, let's talk about the pros of cross training. Well, first, of course, you get to be exposed to different styles, different methods, different techniques that could work even better for you. So that's good. Second is you get to be exposed to the other games without having to join a tournament, because yes, there will come to a point, especially if you're a little bit higher level and your academy is quite small, you will outgrow the your training partners for in some way, shape, or form, because sometimes the sparring gets predictable. And another pro of cross training is, hey, you can make new friends, especially if you're from a different country. You'll find a home away. A lot of our friends from other countries they have a home with us. We got Mike from Mike is from Canada. Yeah, he started training with us. He would visit. He started when he was a white belt. Now he's a brown belt in Canada, and every time he's in Manila, he would visit us. So that's pretty awesome. And we have a lot of those with other people. But we also have a lot of people who aren't welcome anymore to train with us.
He's not welcome.
The con is this: whether it's uh first is when you visit, okay, you can get hurt because yeah, they're within their rules. You can't be protected. It's the same. That's what I tell the students, our students, like, hey, they don't expect them to follow our protocols because they have their own protocol. So yes, you can get hurt. Second, if you're a female, there's a chance that you can get harassed. Again, there's a chance. I'm not saying you always will. Right, because who knows if that gym is run by creeps, which isn't like super unusual if you're really up to date and you really know people who know people. But anyway, so especially if you're a very attractive girl. Next, you can also end up facing those people if ever you do decide to compete, or maybe you're a competitor or you're still watching this video, you may end up facing that guy in the future that you're doing open mats with or cross training with. And now, if you're a gym owner, see, first is, again, your students, if you allow someone cross training with you, your students can get hurt. This has happened to us a few times already. That's why we really stopped entertaining a lot of inquiries about drop-ins and stuff. That's why we have certain rules that I mentioned earlier. Why? Because some of our guys already got injured by, and the problem with that is this: they're just visiting, and what, they just pay like less than 10. How much is like? So it's like 1,000 pesos the drop-in. But for what? They injure your student. Your student's gonna be out for like 2 months, 3 months. So it's not worth. Was the 1,000 worth it? No, definitely not. And of course, your students are also now gonna feel unsafe because they're gonna be like, why did our coach, why did our whatever professor allow that unhinged blue belt to train with us? See? Next, also again, if you're a gym owner, there's also a chance that yes, your students will be poached by other, or they'll be exposed to a training that they find better. It is what it is. Some people don't even like the way we do things. So we've had students who tried other academies, other gyms, and they liked it better there, so they transferred. It is what it is. Not everyone's gonna like the way we do things. Hey, not before ending my, just to wrap it up, I know it's another long video. My overall thoughts: if you're relatively new to jiu-jitsu, I really suggest to not cross train because the risk is too much and the rewards are very little. Because even in your own academy, you can't even do well against the other white belts, against the color. So there really is no point in doing that. And also, you don't know yet the basic etiquette when it comes to cross training. So that could also get you into trouble. Next, if you have friends or family who do jujitsu, but they're from a different team, I really do not see why that should be a problem. Especially if you know that they're gonna take care of you. Man, I train with my brother-in-law, and he's a black belt from. I mean, once in a while I train with him. He's a black belt from another team. I train with some of my friends from other teams. Why? Because they're my friends, man. And it's the same with some first students. Or some first students train with their friends from other teams, and I encourage that also. As long as I just remind them, hey man, as long as you can trust your friend that he's gonna take care of you, then that's cool. Okay, it's always nice to train with, especially with friends and family. It's always different. Now, if you're a high colored belt, okay, and you feel that most of your roles are getting predictable, and let's say you have limited training partners, then yes, I think it would be good if you can cross train once in a while. But again, remember, check first if it's a safe academy to train at. You know, if you feel, because more often than not, again, like I mentioned earlier, people will go hard. And if you're really not very good at defense, if your awareness isn't very good, then you again might get hurt. Now, ultimately, as long as you're safe with where you cross train and whoever you train with, then you should be fine. And I will even encourage it that you guys do it. And with that, my friends, thank you so much. I know it's another long video, but thank you so much for staying. Remember, if you haven't yet, like and subscribe. You know, help me get to 1,000 subscribers. I know you can help me. So with that, my friends, I know you learned a lot. Remember, to stay safe, have fun, so we can do jujitsu until we are 99. And I'll see you guys on the next videos.